We open up today's program with an interesting and informative look at one of the top trainers here at Hastings Racecourse, who started out as a small trainer with only a few horses and now has one of the largest stables here at Hastings Racecourse. We're talking about trainer Dino Condilenios, and here's Dino's story.
I actually got my trainer's license when I was about, I'm going to say 21 or 22 years old. I was helping Dale Bingham and Wayne McGilvery, and my dad owned a couple of horses. Wayne was the one who sort of pushed me to get my license. Started a stable. I think I had 2 of my dad's horses, and then I had a couple of outside horses. A friend of my dad's gave me a couple of horses at the time. I won 2 of my first 5 starts, so at that point I thought it was going to be easy. This is easy. And then I think I went on to about have something like 30 starts without winning a race. So I won 2 of my first 5 and then didn't win a race until later on in the season. But yeah, it was tough. I had a lot, 4 or 5 really cheap horses, and I got lucky and ran out their conditions kind of early, which was why I won a couple races early.
What are the obstacles with a small stable?
It all depends. I mean, it's obviously tough to make a living because unless you have a really good, like a stake horse or something, you're not you're not making a lot of money. But basically, you're just everybody does it just to kind of catch that break, right? Get that person that's going to give you some better horses, which eventually did happen for me. But it's tough. I'm telling you. I was good thing I was sort of living at home when I was in my late teens, early 20s. So it kind of it would have been tough. I had a night job. I used to waiter at night.
Oh, you did?
I did at the time. Yeah, my parents owned a restaurant, so I waitered at night, and that's sort of how I made my living at the time. It definitely wasn't from training horses for the.
Right now, you're training for one big outfit. How did that come about?
I actually started training for Swift Thoroughbreds in 2001, I believe. But I had a lot of clients at the time. I probably had 50 to 60 horses at the time. And then about 2003 or 4, I don't remember, they approached me about going private and training only for them. And at first, said no.
That's a big decision.
It was. I mean, from a financial standpoint, it was a no-brainer. I should have, most people would have. But a lot of people had been with me for years, and they were very loyal to me, and I'm a very loyal type of person. So it was really hard for me to turn it, to turn it down. But then the Kemenies and the Mechets are just such great people, nicest people you're ever going to find. And I talked to Mr. and Mrs. Bennett, and I remember at the time Bob Leffler and his wife Linda, and a few others, and they all said, you're crazy not to do this. I think trainer-owner communication is the one of the key elements of being successful. You have to talk things over. You have to, you need their input, and because you don't want to be on different sides of the fence. You all want to be on the same playing field and agreeing with what's going on. If you're not, then it's too much friction there, right? So you want all the decisions to be, talked over and discussed. And when I was a public trainer, I remember there were certain people that I worked for that used to say, here's some money, just go buy me some horses, and don't bother me. Just like basically, I won't bother you, and you don't bother me. Just tell me when my horse is running, right? And that's okay too, but. I like the communication part of it. I think that's one part of my job I really enjoy. I'm a very social type of person, and I like meeting people, and I like people's input. You can never stop learning. So people can teach you stuff, and yeah, no, I mean, we discuss everything. Like even when I was public or private, it was the same for me.
Looks like most of your outfit is girls.
I do, and to some extent, it's by choice. I just find girls really like horses, more than men do in general. And the one thing I really believe in training horses is for horses to be happy. I think if they're happy, they'll do well, and they'll do well for you. And they're better caretakers when it comes to horses. With men, I find it to be a little more. It's a job. I'm not saying all men. There's some really. I've got a couple of guys that are great, but I mean, but I just find the girls tend to. They just love horses, and they spoil them and everything else, and that's sort of the way I like my barn run.
What are you particularly looking for when you're hiring a groom, say?
Someone that is willing to do things the way I want it done, number one, and number two, that they're reliable and easy to get along with. I mean, you just as long as they show up every day and they work hard and they try, you can't really ask for too much more, and they're willing to learn and do things. 'Cause like I said, we're all, trainers do things differently. Everybody has different ideas, and in different things, and sometimes a groom might have their own ideas about things, but I think that the best type of person to work for you is someone that's willing to do things exactly the way you want it done.
Dino, you back and forth from your barn to the racetrack, you're all over. Any special reason why you put so much miles on?
I like to walk back and forth with my horses because I like to, number one, talk to my exercise riders when they get off, as they're coming off the racetrack, because usually that horse is fresh on their mind, so they can talk to me about that particular horse. And number two, leading them onto the track, a lot of times the rider needs to get tied on. So it's tied on, when I mean tied on is, you know, tie their knot and adjust their stirrups and that sort of thing. So I've had some really nice horses over the years. I've been fortunate enough that people have supplied me with some pretty nice horses. Tatey's a great horse, and you know, but the one thing Lord Nelson had for sure, and I hope Tatey follows in his footsteps, but he was so good for so long, so many years, and that's hard to duplicate. Like, you very rarely see a horse run for 5 or 6. He was, I mean, older horse of the year 4 years in a row, I think, here, and you know, and close to being horse of the year, you know, a couple other seasons as well. Now, raw talent, yeah, this horse, Tatey's probably as good as Lord Nelson, if not better, for sure. He's pretty special, and you know, but I've had some like almost times in the barn. He's a really nice horse. I had Queen of My Nights. I've had Beautiful Stranger. 5 Point Star was a really good horse. You know, and I've had a lot of stakes horses that have won a couple of stakes here and there too. So, I've been pretty lucky. I've had a lot of nice horses over the years.